Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we shall be looking at our topic. Our topic of study today is microscopic techniques. So when you are talking about microscopic techniques, first of all, there are very crucial and essential terms we must mention before we come to these techniques we are going to look at. We are going to define what the term a microscope is. So when we hear about the term microscope, what lingers in our minds is that a microscope is an instrument that is used to visualize organisms or microorganisms that cannot be seen by naked eye. So these microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, we cannot visualize them with our naked eyes. That's why we use this instrument we call a microscope in order to make them visible by our eyes. So when we go before we are going to look at the different categories of microscopes, we are going to look at a brief history, what used to happen there during the old days. Were there microscopes? That's why we are coming to a scientist called Zachariah Jensen and his son Hans Jensen, who were the first people to carry out an experiment actually to find out the concept of microscopy. They used multiple lenses which they placed inside the vessel in front of the tube, and the images that appeared were enlarged. So that was the first experiment that was done. So from there, then there was a great development in the microscopy field, whereby there are different types of microscopes that were developed. We have the electron microscopes, we have the light microscopes. Basically, we are not talking about electron microscopes. We are talking about those microscopes that use electrons as source of illumination. They use electrons to excite the object in order to produce an image. So electron microscopes produce images which are black and white. So wherever you see an image that's black and white, that is automatically an electron microscope image, as compared to light microscope whose images are colored. So we are going to look at the light microscopes, and light microscopes are the microscopes that use a light as a source of illumination. So this light, where is it obtained from? So we have different kinds of light. We have the natural light, which is from the sun. We also have the artificial light, which is provided by the electricity. So such kinds of lights can be used. Basically, the natural light, which is from the sun, can be used for simple light microscopes, those ones that we use in our basic laboratories, like the high school laboratories, whereby we used sunlight and a mirror to reflect the light to the stage. Then we visualize the specimen. Then we also have the complex microscope, that's called, as you're going to look at the compound microscope. The compound light microscope is the one that actually uses electricity as a source of light. So wherever you are using this kind of microscope, we have to connect it to the source of electricity so that it can produce light which can be used for illumination. Under light microscopes, we are having different examples of light microscopes, and most of these light microscopes are very crucial and essential, and some of them were earlier on introduced, but due to the change in the technology